was gone.
Yeah.
They were always doing their gigs and always gone all over the place. So,
Gotta get them together during the week.
yep.
Okay, T minus 30 seconds here, people. I only say that because when I start the meeting, I'm going to ask everyone to mute themselves so that we let our guest tonight have the floor. And so, but I am so excited to have you all here. We are going to have an awesome meeting tonight. Of this, I'm confident, and so I'm looking forward to this.
We have people just joining. Boom, boom, boom.
Boy, right
Good
now.
evening, Lions. If everybody would mute themselves, we're going to get the show on the road. I'm Lion Bruce Beck, and we are so glad to have you with us on Lions USA Wisdom Wednesdays program. And tonight, we have a very special guest. We have our very own D.
Yeah, we got it. We use
No,
Chris's
we
name.
have our IPE, Lion Mark Lyon, and he is going to talk about our upcoming Club Excellence Award. He's changed the format somewhat. And to get this out ahead of time, this way, when July 1st comes around and all the presidents are coming in, they have it to start with, and you can think about it for your year on what we need to do to achieve club excellence. And so, um, from this point on, I'm going to ask you if you have any questions, please throw them in the chat and our staff will get them fed into Mark to join in the conversation. And so we look forward to hearing your questions and we're going to go from here. So, Lion Mark, take it away.
Thank you, Bruce. Good evening, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We are guests from all over the place. I can see this list of
Good
amazing
evening.
lions that are on with us today. It's great to see everybody. So many familiar faces and a lot of new faces too. Bruce, thank you so much for your efforts to create Wisdom Wednesdays. I'm a little shocked that you would ask me to be on something about wisdom, but here we are. We're going to try and carry this through for the next, 40, 45 minutes or so, because I know that there's probably a lot on your minds. What I do want to do tonight is just kind of walk through the 2026-27 Club Excellence Awards, the criteria for that. We're going to walk through it slow. You might have noticed if you're on social media today that there have been some postings of the Excellence Awards, and that is correct. It is out there. We wanted to make sure this year that we did not hold back. We wanted to give our incoming district governor elects an opportunity to really see this criteria to be able to make some good plans, especially as we head into the end of the year and the GAT Summit season. We know that the GAT Summits are coming up at the end of June, June 19th to the 21st. We want to make sure that the DGEs have this in front of them so they can use this information to really create some amazing district goals for their Lions. And so that's another point I want to make before I forget, and I'll try to remind you at the end of the call tonight. And Bruce, help me out if I miss this, but we are still making efforts to increase the number of attendees at our GAT Summit. We're not quite there where we want to be yet. We've got the opportunity for, I think it's close to 700 Lions to be there for training in Atlanta, and we're not there yet. And part of that's because our DGEs have not yet put the information in the portal so that our staff can go in and get those invitations out to their GMTs and GETs. So we need to make sure that you're getting on board with that. It's going to be a new looking, new feeling GAT Summit this year. We've already created some new ways of communicating the importance of Mission 1.5 and where we're going to go and the impact that growth will have on our organization. So we want everybody there. So with that being said, let's talk about our Excellence Awards for next year. This is nothing new. Club Excellence Awards have been around for quite a long period of time. And this is a way to encourage our leaders at the club level, which we all know is the most important level because that's where things get done. That's how things happen. Lions don't join districts and multiple districts, they join clubs. So we want to make sure that every club around the world, but most particularly the 9,000 plus clubs in Constitutional Area 1 are putting forth their best efforts to achieve this recognition. And as an overall comment, we have softened things up a little bit. We have been working really hard as Lions these last few years. Under the Mission 1.5 initiative, everybody has been working super hard, doing things in new ways, changing the culture in their districts, multiple districts, and even at the club level. And we want to continue that growth well beyond Mission 1.5. We've instituted a new way of thinking about things. And a lot of it has come out on Wisdom Wednesdays. It's come out through Lions Virtual. It's come out in all the different platforms that our Lions across CA1 support and get engaged with. So we want to make sure that our Lions understand that their work is recognized and that this is not always the easiest thing to do. We know that growing our clubs and increasing our membership and keeping them, retention of members, is a very difficult task sometimes for some clubs. We know that clubs that are brand new sometimes struggle to keep that momentum going and keep going beyond the 2 and 3 year mark. And we know that clubs that have been around now for over 100 years struggle sometimes to keep their membership motivated with new ideas and new ways of doing things. So we create Club Excellence Awards as a way to incentivize our Lions to keep things moving forward. And so we break these excellence awards down into 4 different areas. And the first, of course, is about membership, because we do need to lead with that when it comes to Mission 1.5. Membership is something that everybody should be talking about, because we need to ensure that we have people taking this organization ahead in the years to come. We can't sit back. We can't expect people to want to just join automatically. We have to be visible, and that's where our service comes in. Service is what's going to drive our membership and our retention in the days ahead. So when it comes to membership, we want our clubs to focus on, of course, net growth. Net growth is the buzzword. That's the number at the end of the day that we look at when we take in the number of new Lions that have been brought in, the number of Lions that have left the club through drops, or those that have passed away. We need to show that net growth. And for this coming year, we want our clubs to simply be a net growth of +2. +2. That's all it is. It doesn't sound like a lot. It is for some clubs, and we understand that. But we want you to, if we know, and we've talked about it for almost 3 years now, that if every club added 1 member, we would be in an amazing position. That would be 50,000 new members. If every club added 2, well, you do the math. I'm not the mathematician here. That's Bruce's job. But you look and see, and you can count and see what a great impact that would have on the overall ability of our association to serve more people by growing our numbers. So if we look at that membership, last year we changed it just a little bit. What we had last year was we were talking about inducting a minimum of 2 new members or 20% of or more members. This year, we're making it a little bit easier to achieve this goal. We're making it a net growth of 2 members or 10% more members, right? 10%. So if you have a club of 10, you add 1. If you have a club of 50, you add 5. I think the math is right there, right? Right. So thank you, Bruce. He's running a calculator in the background there to make sure I don't mess up with this. But that's what we're looking for. Net growth of 2 members or 10% or more members. Remember that reinstated members and charter members above the minimum of 20 will qualify. So that's an important consideration too. If you bring in 25 when you charter a new club, that's going to help add to that number, because normally when we talk about new clubs, we're talking about a different category there. So we want to make sure that we continue to focus on the net growth figure of +2 or 10% or more members in your clubs. Now there's the big or, because we give you an option. And the option here is to charter a new Lions club or a club branch. Now, this is where it can get fun, everybody, because you have so many opportunities to either charter new clubs or create branch clubs from your club. We know how important it is to get these new members in, but sometimes it's really a challenge to get to that 20, to get to that number, to get to that new club requirement. But Club branches, much easier, much smaller number to reach. You need 5 to get that number going. And this is where your specialty clubs can come in. This is where the ideas start coming up, where you want to get things percolating in your area. You want to create some excitement about a new group, a new organization that you're partnering with in your town or your city, and really getting things moving. And you can do that through the club branch structure. So we all know about club branches. We're not going to talk about that tonight, but please keep in mind that the alternative of the +2 net gain or 10% or more members is to sponsor a new Lions Club or a club branch during the 2026-2027 Lions year. Sound easy? Maybe. It can be very tough. We know that. We are working so hard in CA1 with the new club development workshops, all the activities that we're taking on, the Ask One, all the different programs that are impactful in different parts of CA1 are really making a difference. So when you have an opportunity to participate in a learning session, whether it be this session or whether it be anything else that Lions USA is promoting or anything that our international headquarters office staff are promoting during the year that are talking about growth. We want you to be a part of that because that's where you're going to hear about the new ideas and the new ways of doing things. So again, membership, real easy. I'm going to repeat it one more time, then we're going to move on. Net growth of 2 members or 10% or more members in your club, or sponsor a new Lions Club or a club branch. All right? Easy peasy. That makes sense to me. That's the biggest hurdle you have in the coming year is the membership number. But you are doing such amazing things now that I know this is not going to be a problem for you. And you're going to start it right at the beginning of the new year. In fact, you're going to do it now. You're going to get out there in front of people now and say, you know what? I've got 5 buddies that want to form a specialty club, and I'm ready to just get them on board now and just start the process. We need to do that. We need to be more proactive. We're not going to hold on to these things for long. Brian and I have talked about this, about sometimes the districts, they like to hold on to these things. We have to react. We have to get these new members in and get them up to speed on the great work that we do in our communities. So when you have the opportunity, you get it done now. You leave your team in a better place than the year before, and you just keep moving every year better and better with our membership numbers. All right. So let's move over to my favorite topic, and that is service. Service for me is number 1 next year. Service is the top of the heap when it comes to talking about why we're here, who we are as Lions and Leos, and how we're going to continue to have a greater impact on the communities where we live and serve. So we bring that up to the top, and we make sure that we encourage all of our clubs to participate in a minimum of 4 service projects during the year. That should be easy for so many clubs, but some, again, smaller clubs may have a more challenging time with doing that. So we want to be able to make sure that all the resources are available for all of our clubs to learn new ways of doing things, to discover the fact that service is something you can define for yourself. It's not very prescriptive. It's something that you can define. We talked before the call about creating a card writers club to write thank you notes to people, to write best wishes and get well soon notes to people. What a great service project for a small club to do to stay engaged with the community. And there are thousands, if not more, different options for you to come up with these new ideas to increase your service activities. With respect to the 4 service activities, the rule is the same as last year. 3 of them need to align with our global causes and will also align with my 3 weeks of service next year. Current President AP Singh had 3 weeks of service in October, in January, and in April. And he worked with mental health and well-being. He worked with hunger and worked with environment. Next year, here's a tip for you. Next year in October, we will work on youth causes. And sorry, did I say October? October is youth. January, I'm sorry, come back. October is vision, right? Going back to our roots here, going back to vision in October, youth efforts, youth causes in January, and we're going to repeat the environment again in April. But the best part about this club excellence criteria is that you do not need to do the service during the specific week of service that we're doing globally. You can do it anytime during the year. And we changed that criteria during this current year because we wanted to make sure that people were serving and not feeling like they couldn't do something they really wanted to do because they missed that week. So you have advance notice that we will be focusing on vision in October, on youth in January, and on the environment in April. I really want to make sure that we get our focus, no pun intended, back on vision. We have so many amazing projects that are going on all the time, but let's get back to basics. Let's get back to our roots with our service, going back to 1925 when you know the story. Helen Keller came to the International Convention and challenged her Lions present to be her Knights of the Blind in the crusade against darkness. Let's re-energize our clubs with a focus on vision, and that can be anything. That can be eyeglass collections. That can be doing KidSight screenings. The sky is the limit when it comes to vision. Working with your local low vision centers to deliver devices to people who are infirmed, can't leave their home, get them trained on doing these kind of things. There's so many things we can do that are related to vision. Youth initiatives in January. Again, I'm going to have a lot of focus during my year on our Leo programs and creating that pathway for our Leos to become Lions or Leo Lions. You're going to be hearing a lot about that in the coming months about this new pathway we need to develop because we don't want to lose our Leos. In CA1, we have about 34 or 3,500 Leos that will age out of the Alpha Leo program. And you know, if you're on this call, you probably know that we don't do a lot of Omega Leo programs. We usually just do the alphas for the younger children. But we need to create a pathway for them to create Leo Lion clubs and use their experience and stay together after they finish their high school years and they're going off to college and or going into the workforce or going into the service. Whatever they're going to do, we need to find a way to keep them together. And there are some states where you could form 4 or 5 Leo Lion clubs just with that group that are aging out of the Alpha Leo program. So that's a really important service initiative for us, and we'll focus on that during that week in January. In April, we're going to focus again on the environment because it's a very important issue for me, a very important cause for me to want us to support again. We will be partnering once again with the Earth Day activities that go on in April, and we're also working very hard to partner with the United Nations Environmental Program to do a co-branded environmental project with them during the month of April. So much more to come on that. Lots to talk about when it comes to service, but those are the only requirements. 4 service projects. There's 4 during the year, 3 of which are focused on the global causes of vision, youth, and environment. All right. How's that sound? Easy. Again, we're making it so easy for you. This is great. You know, and we're not trying to take away opportunities for recognition from our Lions. We want to enhance that. We want to increase that. So let's move on to the next category, and that would be leadership and organizational excellence. We've changed this a little bit over the last couple of years. Each year, there seems to be a slightly different focus on this, but I wanted to keep it primarily the same, although we did add one change, and I'll talk about that first. I'm looking at my sheet here because I want to read it correctly. This is about clubs in good standing. We want clubs not to be in status quo and financial suspension during the year. We need to do a better job in communicating the importance of having our clubs stay financially secure and reporting this and making sure that they're paying their international dues. This is a big deal in some parts of the world. We don't want it to be here in the US. So we're going to focus on this under this criteria for the Excellence Awards. And what we want to say is that club dues be paid and have no unpaid balance with Lions International greater than $50, $50, outstanding 90 days or more. Does that sound reasonable? I think it will be much easier to maintain in the coming year. We've spent a great amount of time this year talking about watching clubs on status quo and getting in front of them, using our our GAT team to talk about that, using our group leaders to talk about it with the DGEs. And our trainers for the second VDGs have also been talking about this as a way to resolve some of the issues with drops at the end of the year. It's just one way of doing it, but it's an important way of doing it, and it keeps our clubs solvent. It keeps them running on the straight and narrow, and it makes it so that our finance staff at LCI headquarters doesn't have to chase people down. And we know that they don't want to be doing that, nor do we want to be doing that. So we want to do everything we can to encourage our clubs to pay their bills, to send their dues into our headquarters on a timely basis throughout the year, and not wait until the very end. We can't be doing that. That's when we get ourselves in trouble, because there's a big rush to get that done, and we don't want to leave those kind of things to the very end of the Lions year. That's the first criteria for under leadership and organizational excellence. Now we come to we're repeating some things here, which indeed are very, very important. The next criteria is to report your newly elected club officers for the next year, the 27-28 Lions year, into the portal no later than May 15th, 2027, which is the current year. So this is a heads up, and a really early heads up for our teams at the club level to ensure that they get their club officers into the portal on a timely basis. Again, we chase a lot of people around at the end of the year to get this information in, and it's really something that our clubs need to stay on. Many clubs that have brought in club administrators, or districts that have brought in district administrators, are helping the clubs to get this done and to do it on a timely basis. And it also supports our desire to make sure that we're focusing on succession planning and leadership development, because this all goes hand in hand. We want to make sure that the leadership knows who's going to be in place so that they can get the proper training to do an even better job when they take on these roles at the club level. So very, very important to get these club officers reported on a timely basis during the upcoming Lions year. The next criteria here is club officers attending instructor-led club officer training, in person or virtual, and that's important, organized and reported in the Learn system, which is in the database, in the portal, by the GLT coordinator. And we need people to do this between now, right, March 1st of 2026, because it rolls over. We have a lot of training going on for our incoming officers that counts towards this, and the end of October of 2026. So you've got, how many months is that, Bruce? 6 months to get this done, right? 6 months to get some training done. And we know we're not asking anything new here, because this is when our training gets done at the local level. You have lots of opportunities to get this done. Our districts and our multiple districts have their own calendars, their own schedules for getting this information out and training our Lions to make sure that they're ready for the upcoming year. So very, very important to get this criteria met and to participate in the training. Now, we did not specify what a club officer is. If you look at your standard form, constitution and bylaws, and I know many of you probably have it open to that page right now, you will see that club officers also include your membership chair, your service chair, and your marketing chair. For purposes of this criteria, we have not always counted that, because not every part of the world does training for those particular roles. There's information out there in the Learning Center, and we want to encourage those Lions that are serving in those positions to take the training, to go online and do the reading, walk through the learning materials and all that. But it is not a requirement for the training to be done. So we want to make sure that we get the presidents, we get the vice presidents, we get the secretaries and the treasurers trained. That's the key group. But if you do training at the local level for those other chairpersons for marketing, service, and membership, then that counts towards this as well. All right. Yeah. And I'm seeing notes in here that not all clubs have marketing chairs. That's right. And that's okay. We're not going to force you to do that. That's something that's managed more at the local level, and we don't want to add that to the list of things that you must do. So, all right. So that's club officer training. We need to make sure we get that done. And again, remember the time frames from March 1 of now, which was couple months ago now, to October 31st. That's the prime time frame for getting all of our Lions leaders trained. All right. This next one was new last year. And this is where we're saying that the club president for the current Lions year must not have served in that role for more than 2 consecutive years. This one raised a lot of hackles. This one changed, made a lot of people question why. And it's all about leadership and it's all about succession planning. We understand small clubs may struggle to find new leaders to step into these roles. But we want to keep this in front of everybody, the importance of getting new people involved in leadership opportunities, getting those new ideas flowing, getting new opportunities for service flowing, and really focusing on those new voices that are out there in our clubs. Every club should know that the leadership has their backs. Every club should know that new members, we have their backs. We want to make sure that they're successful. We want them to learn new opportunities and to take sometimes a risk of taking on a role like this. This may be something that they've never done before. And we want to do all we can to let them know that we support them in their efforts and that we're here to make sure that they will not fail. Lions don't let other lions fail in these kind of jobs. We want to make sure that this is communicated through to the club level. So, club presidents only for the current Lion year cannot have served more than 2 consecutive years. All right. Well, this is a culture change. We're getting into this, and we want to make sure that this is understood. And I'm sure there'll be more questions about this. They can come back if they take a break for a year. They can come back and serve as club president, but no more than 2 years consecutively. All right. And the final criteria under leadership and organizational excellence has to do with club members and club members learning on the Lions Learning Center, the LLC, taking a minimum of 3 courses, any 3 courses, whatever they choose to do. And there are so many courses and classes available for people to take. This is for your club members, not necessarily your officers, just the club members. We want people to know that Lions is all about learning and development and the opportunity to take on new projects by just reading some articles, reading some papers. And these are not voluminous kind of things that are in the Learning Center. These are quick pages, quick reads that will help you to take your service and your membership and your leadership to another level. So not all members, only 10% of your members. So if you have a club of 30, then you need 3, right? There's a math test for me again. You need only 3 of your members to log on and take 3 classes in the Lions Learning Center. Again, we hope that this will be an encouragement to all of our Lions to continue to learn more about our organization. You can do your orientation training there. Of course, we'd love to have you do it in person, but you can do orientation training. You can learn about global advocacy. You can learn about all the different roles and responsibilities. You can learn about our foundation through the Lions Learning Center. And we want to encourage our membership to participate in that as well. All right. Last but not least, this is the big one too, is Lions Clubs International Foundation. Every year, as part of the Club Excellence Awards, we have some criteria around giving. And we think that that's very, very important. I like to tell our Lions when I'm visiting them that for new Lions, your first act of service should be to invite a new member in, to get that first member on the roster. And your second should be to make a donation in some amount to our foundation. You all know the amazing work that's been done by our foundation since its formation in 1968. Nearly $1.4 billion in grants and disaster aid for places where you live, people that you know have been impacted by that, and places around the world that you may never have heard of, but we're making a difference because LCIF is there for people in need. So all we want you to do is contribute to LCIF. This is at the club level, a minimum of the club's membership total at the start of this year. So July 1 of 2026, multiplied by $20. So if you have 5 members in your club, that's a $100 donation to LCIF. And then you can do the math the rest of the way through. If you have 100 members in your club, thank you so much for making that sizable donation to our foundation. That is wonderful. We want you to think that way. We want you to think how important the donations are, and we'd like everybody to consider doing this. Again, it's an act of service to support our foundation, and we want to make sure that everybody has that opportunity to learn about the great work that our foundation does every single day, 365, 24/7. There is something going on that is receiving support from LCIF. And there's so much to learn about LCIF again. We want to make sure that everybody has a chance to hear about the types of grants that are available for all levels of our association from clubs on up. So let me repeat that formula again. I saw the note in there. We want you to consider making a contribution to LCIF of a minimum of the club's membership total. So whatever the club membership, whatever your roster of Lions is on July 1, 2026, multiply that number by $20. And that is the criteria for meeting the LCIF Excellence Award. All right. I hope that clarifies for some. I saw some questions come up in the chat room there. So that's it. 30 minutes in, and we've covered
Awesome.
all of the areas that are important. Let me just mention, too, that because it is important from the districts and region and zone criteria for those who use regions. I know many areas do not use region chairs. They just stick with zones. But if you do, for district, zone chairs, and region chairs, to qualify for their recognitions, for their excellence awards, half of the clubs that they're responsible for need to earn the Club Excellence Award. So 50% of the clubs that they're responsible for. So if you're a zone chairperson and you have 10 clubs, then 5 of them have to have achieved the Club Excellence Awards for you to receive the zone chair award. All right.
Lion Mark,
Yes.
one of the questions, and I'm going to ask my other facilitators in the background to bring questions forward here after this. One of the questions from Gary Holloway on the LCIF donation part.
Mhm.
Does that include gifts by individual members to LCIF directly, or is that only money given by the club when you look at counting LCIF amounts?
So Brian can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that you can that would be included towards your club's total. So personal donations are tracked by your member number, and your member number is attached to your club. So it would count towards that.
I will agree with your assessment, but I just wanted to get that question to you.
If
So
if you have a wiser way of saying it, I would invite you to do so, Bruce.
I don't know that there's a wiser way, Lion Mark. That's very generous of you. So all I will say is yes, individual donations count towards your club's amount, and they are recorded there. So good question there, Gary.
Excellent question. Yeah,
Lion Brian,
while we're looking at other questions again too, this is really important criteria. It will not be posted on the LCI website until after International Convention. That's the standard process for updating for the new Lions year with matters related to the International President's theme and all those kind of things. This is one of those things that'll work its way in right at the beginning of the new Lions year.
Lion Mark. Here's a very good question. I believe I know the answer, but I'd rather hear it from you. When we're looking at total members, do associate members count in the club's total for LCIF or members when you're counting, or just full members?
So an associate member, oh, you're testing me here.
I know it.
I don't want to misspeak. I don't have the verbiage in front of me for that. Do you know off the top of your head with 100% accuracy?
I do not know.
Okay.
Does Brian Sheehan know from membership? Brian?
I'm just asking GTP.
All right.
Hey, Bruce.
Yes.
Yeah, all I know is that they're included in our total. If you looked on our portal for our club, they're included in the total number. So that's where my question comes from.
Mhm.
So if I could add that for membership, I they're listed, but associate members are not counted in the total number for clubs.
It
For
shows it as
what
a total
AI
number, but that's my
says,
understanding as well.
Brian, what does AI say?
for what AI says. However, because they are already an active member in another Lions Club, they typically do not count the same as a brand new member for certain membership growth awards or new member goals.
Awesome.
Take that for what it's worth.
Perfect.
So I will
Thank you.
say no, associate members do not count when it comes
Towards
to
award.
your total number of members you want for net growth, because an associate members belong to their home club, and they wouldn't count for your LCIF because they would count at their home club. You can't count them in
Yeah,
two clubs.
I agree. I just have to explain it. So
Mhm.
awesome. Thank you.
Okay.
So Mark, we had another series of questions on the chat. One was about the first criteria for net members. It says or, and you gave an example of if you have 10 members, that's one new member for 10%. But if you have 50 members, that would be 5%, or 5 members if you choose the 10, but it says or. So does that mean 2 will work or 5 is required?
I think the interpretation would say the higher number, but I'm looking to that to see if I have that in my notes. I apologize for not having that right out in front of me.
So it should say whichever is greater.
Yeah, I want to look at last year's too and see how they reported that out.
Last year, if I remember right, it was reported that the minimum of 2 members or 10%. So those clubs that were under 20 members were still required to do 2, even though it was more than 10%.
Yeah, last year's number indicate a minimum of 2 or 20% new members, whichever is greater.
So the criteria should have whichever is greater in.
I believe it should say whichever is greater.
Okay.
But what we did was we dropped the 20% of 20% new members down to 10% new members.
So it's new members or net growth of, because last year that was changed. It was new members.
And we changed it to a net growth number or
So it's
10% or more members.
So it's actually 10% new members or net growth of 10%.
Net growth of 2 members or 10% or more members.
Okay.
We're really dissecting this, I know, but these are the kind of questions that our Lions are going to need answers to. All right. So
Thank you.
I am taking notes now as well, Mark, and we will make sure that the wording is very, very clear so that our Lions understand exactly what the criteria is.
I got another good one here for you, Mark. This is from Gary Holloway. It's in regards to the LLC where you have to have 10% of the members take 3 courses.
Mhm.
He's wondering if you have 24 members in your club, is the 10%, is that 2 members or is it 3 members? If it comes up to like 2.4, is that considered? Do
I
you
would
round
always
up?
go one more. Go one more.
Always better to go one more.
Always better to go one more.
Round up.
Do the max.
For the 10% of the members, we're talking about, let's see, the 10% of club members, that's for the Lions year. So that is through June 30 of 2027.
Mark, I'm just going to clarify. The final date is June 30th of 2027, correct?
Yeah, this is under the category of leadership and organizational excellence. 10% of the club's members complete any three courses in the Lions Learning Center. That would be a year end, end of Lions year requirement.
Okay. Um, I was looking at other things while you were talking the whole time, and I may have missed. Did you actually state that the clubs don't need to turn it in, right? It's done automatically in the portal and they will be sent out. And so clubs don't have to put in an application for this award process. My
Oh,
understanding is it's done automatically by uh, the computer tallying the totals in the portal reports, correct?
that is absolutely correct, Bruce. That is the same as last year. There is no application process for the Club Excellence Awards. In fact, we got rid of all of the paper application processes for for the zone, for the district, and for the region as well. No more paper when it comes to that. It's all done automatically. That's why reporting is so important. That's why we have to get our clubs in the portal with all the current information.
Thank you.
We do have another question, Mark, and it's coming from Michael Crenshaw in 5M. What if your club is doing a 2-year term, but the current club president has already done a year, but the club bylaws are changing? That's
Boy,
maybe a couple categories there.
leave it to 5M to come up with one of those questions.
Very
Uh,
astute.
yeah, I do understand that many clubs have changed their local bylaws to incorporate a 2-year term. Uh, the international bylaws allow for 1-year terms, and the it is not going to be it's been discussed over and over again with the Constitution Bylaws Committee about whether they should make that mandatory or leave it alone and leave it as 1 year with it renewable for another year. And so the decision was made to keep it silent as far as 2 years in the standard form. But local rules are okay to do that. I just think that they have to go through the election process each year, like it's a single year of election, and be able to, to document that through their minutes or, through the portal.
Okay.
If in doubt, our legal department at headquarters is ready to answer these kind of questions, especially when they get involved in local bylaw rule changes. We want to make sure that it's still, your club your way, but remember, a lot of our standard form constitution and bylaws is considered to be mandatory language so that we're consistent across the organization, across the world. So if in doubt, please reach out to the legal department at headquarters.
There was another one that said, "Wait, what? Is there training for marketing chair?" Question mark.
Again, that's something that could be done at the local level, but there's also marketing information, marketing learnings that are part of the Lions Learning Center.
Okay.
Just keep an eye on that because those things change quite often. There's a lot of new material that's added on a regular basis, and also courses are updated. The curriculum is updated as necessary. Those are all reviewed internally and based on responses that our Lions see and read. If they want clarification or updates on certain things, our staff is very likely to be upgrading, modifying the curriculum that's out there on the website.
Mark, we have a question in from Lion Joe. He states, are transfer members and reinstated members included in the net growth of a club?
Reinstated members above the minimum of the 20 that you need for a new club count towards the net growth.
Okay, and what about transfer members?
Transfer members.
If I wanted to transfer you into
Mhm.
your club, would that be counted as net growth? I don't believe this year
I
it did. They
I
wanted
don't
new
believe
members.
it is. Looking back through my notes, but I would want to get some clarity around that. But I don't believe it does.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Mark, Brian, Denise, any other questions you see out in the chat box we haven't addressed?
I think that I've saw something that with some of the clarifications, Mark, that you just shared with us, the question was asked, is there going to be an updated document then that will have these modifications included in it? For example, the words
Mhm.
I'm hunching, they mean whichever is greater in that
Mhm.
first section. So they're asking, will this document that was put out on social media yesterday going to be updated?
I will take that back to the team. I'll be in Oak Brook with that group next week, and we will address it then. And if there needs to be an edit or a clarification, then we will be communicating that to the broader Lions audience. I should say too that when you look at the criteria for these awards on the website, there is a tab that shows for changes and updates that are made throughout the year because there is always clarifications that need to be made. You know, this is not a true exact science in some of these criteria. They're looked at different ways in different parts of the world, and the challenge is to ensure that we're doing it consistently for all constitutional areas, for all clubs around the world. We want to make sure that we can get as absolutely close to possible so that it's a common understanding. But we do have updates that do come out during the year. Last year, it was with respect to the service weeks and the ability to do those types of service activities at any point during that Lions year. That was an update that was made, and there might have been another small adjustment, but we hope then that we'll make sure that this language is cleared up well before the start of the new Lions year.
Mark, I've got one from Vanessa here. At the top of your form, you say new clubs chartered after January 1st, 2027 are not eligible for the award.
Mhm.
Vanessa was wondering what the significance of January 1st was as non-eligibility.
You know, that after much discussion with staff and looking at some of the criteria here that goes back into the prior year, it was just determined that we had to have a cutoff at some point for new clubs, newly chartered clubs coming in. So it's an administrative necessity, and it's just something if we can improve how things are reported and allow things to be changed, maybe that will change. But for now, we need to stick to that January 1 time frame for this upcoming year's Excellence Awards.
Mm.
We've also got one here from Kelly Mark, and she was asking if when you have to the or sponsoring a new club, she's asking if sponsoring a new Leo club counts towards club excellence.
No, it does not. If because Leos do not count towards our membership numbers, our global numbers, and the striving for 1.5 that we're working so hard to accomplish, Leos do not count towards that. However, if Leo Lion Club would, because that is a membership category for Lions. So we want to encourage those that are thinking about chartering a new Leo Lion Club to get those going as soon as you can, because those will definitely count towards our numbers.
Does our team see any other questions that we have yet to touch base on before we move forward? Go in
No,
once.
I don't see any, Bruce.
Okay, thank you.
On the hot seat. On the hot seat. This is a great exercise, Bruce and Brian and everybody who's on the call, because this is the kind of testing that we like to hear. We like to learn what our lions are or how our lions are interpreting these criteria. It's very, very important for them, and we want it to be spot on. You know, we want it to be you know consistent all the way across the board. So we truly appreciate the questions. And if there are any questions that are thought of following this, Bruce, how can they get information to you to share with me?
They can They can send emails directly to me, or they can email lionsUSA@liονsusa.org. Is our email, or yeah, educate. We have too many emails. I'm trying to decide if it's education team or hang on, maybe I got it written down.
I think it's just education, Ruth.
I think it's education at lusa.org. If not, people can email me. Um, I'm my email, I'll throw in the chat box right now.
Thank you, Bruce.
And I threw in the chat box a list of all the LUSA programs that we offered and what time they're offered, and give you an idea. And there's my email in the chat box. If anybody wants it for follow-up questions, I can get those to Mark. So let me do this. I want to say thank you. Thank you to our guest, just Mark Lyon, for being on tonight and going over the program and fielding the questions without any teleprompts or any other aids other than his wisdom and wit. And so I anticipate that with the questions you have asked, it's going to go back with Mark to headquarters, and we may see the document tweaked and more clearly defined so that we've eliminated some of these questions. So tonight was very beneficial, not only for us, but for Mark also. What I would like to do is thank you all for coming. I am going to share one document with you. I think I just threw it in the chat, but I just wanted you to be aware of our other Lions USA programs, so that you can see what we're doing. If you want, take a screenshot, right? Or I threw it in chat, you could download, but it tells what the programs are, what day of the month they're offered, and it gives a little background. The new Club Navigator is absolutely awesome for those members, all members in clubs less than 5 years. We know a lot of times they have trouble finding their own niche and making a go of it, and but we have a team of experts there to help you, and you get resources from other Lions who are less than 5 years in the system and going through the exact same things you are. So if you have starting new clubs in your area, get your members of those clubs to participate in this. The other programs are just as fun and engaging. The Roar and Pour, our growth workshops we offer every fall and winter, membership Mondays. This one that's a phenomenal program. They go over different ideas on membership. They bring you solutions, successful solutions that are working. A lot of the topics are the attendee driven. We need to know about. Can you tell us more about? And so jump in on Membership Mondays so you can reach your club goals and get that Club Excellence Award. Yeah, that's how it's going to come together when we all work together. And so it's been a wonderful blessing having each and every one of you here. I thank not only Mark Lyon, but the background staff of Brian Sheehan, Mark Menzel, and Denise Laudenbach for their efforts in making tonight work. And so I want to wish, one big announcement, Wisdom Wednesdays and LCI Live program, which is this third Thursday of the month. I only say that because it's going to be the division manager, Sue Bend, who's the IT manager for headquarters. She's the one who oversees the portal, makes everything happen on the technology end at headquarters. She is going to be our guest on LCI Live on our third Thursday at 7 p.m. So if you have any questions about the portal, want to know more, or why don't we have a shortcut to get this, this is the program to attend. Now I'll finish my statement. LCI Live and Wisdom Wednesdays are going to take the summer off. June, July, and August, there will be no Wisdom Wednesdays and there will be no LCI Live because we know the Lions and CA1 are busiest doing their parades, their fundraisers, their service activities, family vacations, family reunions. And so it's just a terribly busy time. And so we're going to let you be you and enjoy your summer. We will see you next September on Wisdom Wednesdays. And with that, let me there, we get everyone together so we can all wave together and say good night and thank you all for coming.
Good night, everybody. Thanks so
Thanks,
much for
everybody.
joining.
Mark.
Thank you, guys.